Which science, by definition, allows for more than one opinion. Otherwise, you merely have the will of one man, which is the basis of cult.
If it's not in frame, it doesn't exist.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
I'm funny how? I mean funny like I'm a clown and you lose you?
Where you been?
Drunk.
Wendy, darling, light of my life.
What's your one purpose in life?
To explode, of course.
I like death with sex. How about you, Casey? You like sex with death?
Yeah, so fuck off and die.
Anyway, we're gonna talk about movies now.
Yeah, we'll talk about instead of the movies that
we're literally just talking about our ADHD and just be like about everything else.
Yeah, I know. Right? I mean, that's kind of this podcast. It would be too long. I mean, Coldest Bit of Knowledge already is a pretty long podcast name, but it'd be really long if it was like two gentlemen that talk about cinema. But yeah, it's kind of ADHD, so
sometimes
they bounce around it.
We spent a good minute talking about lenses, about this camera and how I'm gonna ship it. So you mentioned the name of the podcast. Hey, this is the Cult of Cinnamon Knowledge podcast. What do you know? That's Jordan over there. I'm Levi. Today,
say that again.
That's Jordan, right? And I'm Levi.
Yeah. Oh my!
This is the Cult of Cinnamon Knowledge podcast.
We're stuck. We're stuck in a loop. We're stuck in a time loop.
Not again. Not again. So this month has been Crazy Action Month. We've finished it off by watching 2014's Edge of Tomorrow. You clicked on the thumbnail. It's Tom Cruise's face, probably. Just kidding. The thumbnail's probably like the beach because the beach is cool.
I repeat. Oh yeah.
which is a better title, but they just couldn't figure it out, and so they botched the marketing.
Well, that's not even the name of the manga too. So it's like
Wait, isn't Live Die Repeat the manga?
No, it's called. Oh my god! What now? I had it up and then I clicked away from it because I
forgot we were recording.
No. Speaking of ADHD, I literally said, "All right, I'll remember that." It's called like Kill Switch or something, and I was like, "I'll remember this," and then I clicked away from.
Oh yeah, all you need is kill. That's all you need is kill, right?
Yeah, all you need is kill is the name of that.
Yeah, that's cool too. Yeah,
that's a dope title. Why do they do that? Why do they change it?
Edge of Tomorrow is such a dumb generic name compared to either of those. Yeah, like Live Die Repeat, at least like it catches your attention and it kind of tells you what the movie's kind of is going to be about, and then all you need is kill is just fucking cool. You know what I mean?
But I get like this movie. This is the one negative thing about this movie to me is they kind of pull their punches a little bit. It's a PG-13 movie, like to it
hard. Yeah, that's gonna be my. But you guys, if this is your first episode, you're gonna learn how much I hate PG-13 movies. I want everything to be just gory all the time.
Well, yeah, and I want it like it just sucks. I was actually thinking about that the entire time we were watching this movie. I just wish that I wish the rating system didn't exist so that we could kind of like live in a gray zone like it was in the 70s and 60s.
Yeah, you just make it.
Like you make it and then you let people watch it and then experience it and it's like I don't know. It's like
studios mass appeal,
Right. And I think it's like I don't know, marketing, you can tell if it's going to be like super graphic. Anyways, that's besides the point. I'm going to tell you what this movie's all about.
Yeah, for those who cuz as you can tell, it's been 10 years since this movie came out, apparently. And it feels like, came out in 2018 or something to me. But it's been 10 years. And so, where's the time gone? I'm in a time loop.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you haven't seen this movie in a fucking decade, here's the synopsis for you, Jordan.
Lay it on us. Let me break it down.
Lay it on us.
The best possible way. Though is everyone happy that it's my turn to do the synopsis because it's a rambler, baby.
I know. I'm gonna go get a snack real quick. Will you?
Okay, everybody go pop your popcorn at this point. But I'll break it down really quick because it's a very simple premise. It just relies heavily on the Groundhog's Day premise, where our main character, Tom Cage, actually I don't remember his first name, but anyways, it's Tom Cruise, and
doesn't matter. Yeah,
his name's Cage, and he's a PR for the Army. Oh my God. Okay, I've already ruined it. So this movie opens up where we're in the near future, and a meteor crashed, and the meteor was like harboring these aliens that want to kill us. And they're slowly spreading throughout the world. And this movie takes place in London, where we're met up with Cage, and he's gonna go, and he's been telling people to come join the forces, and we're gonna do like one last mission in London to drop in and like push back the aliens and kill them and wipe them out and save humanity. Well, Cage gets like, I don't even remember why, but he has to go.
So I forgot how dumb the reasoning for him there is. It's just like,
no, it's really bad. It's
literally
really fast.
Just because they're like, let's just get them to the fucking thing and the action.
For like the inciting incident is the general goes, you have to go and fight, and you have to like, because you're like good with words, you have to go die beside these men. Anyways, doesn't really matter. But Cage runs away, and they force him to go, and he wakes up on this pile of clothes, and he's at the barracks, and one of the generals comes up, or sergeant, I don't know. We're terrible with like the military lingo. I don't know what people are, captain and colonel and whatever that is, Colonel Sanders. But anyways,
popcorn colonel.
So Sergeant Farrell meets with him, and he gives him the rundown, and he takes him to Barracks J, I think, or whatever, Unit J, and you meet their ragtag crew there, and then he Cruz is like, I have no idea what I'm gonna do. Cage gets set up, and he's in these like cool futuristic mechs. And he drops on the beach, and it's like the full front assault. And then you find out that like the aliens knew that they were coming before they even got there. And it's like, whoa, that's crazy. And then he dies, and you're like, holy shit, he dies in the first like 15 minutes. Well, he dies in a pretty cool way. He kills one of the aliens, and it spits like its blood venom all over him. And
that's why I'm satisfying. It like melts his face, and I'm like, I was like, the gorehound in me. I'm like, okay.
But it's like, it's so bad.
Because it's not blood. That's the thing. It's not blood.
Yeah, so it disintegrates, and it kind of looks fake. I mean, it is fake. But anyways,
no, they actually killed one of the many Tom Cruise clones. That's how they did it.
Honestly, there is. They're guaranteed there is. Like there's some that are just in the like vault inside the building.
There's a fucking whole floor of them.
Yeah, guaranteed. But anyways, so he wakes up again on the same pile of luggage where he was dropped off, at the beginning of the movie, and you're like, oh, okay. He like wakes up, and it's the same thing happens, and he's like, oh shit, this is, he's got like, and it just like kind of dawns on him, and I love it because like we're at this premise is so established, like so well established in society at large, like IRL, and so you kind of just Tom Cruise is already like, he's like, you're not gonna believe what's happening right now. Like that's the first time he wakes up, he's like, you're not gonna believe me, and then he dies again. And then he's like, oh shit, now, and then it turns into the investigation to figure out how he can get out of this time loop. He knows that he's stuck in it. He knows if he dies. And then he meets Emily Blunt, who's Rita, and she's like this cool, badass, mercenary type of, soldier who's like killed a lot of people or killed a lot of the aliens, and like, everyone thinks she's cool. And she's like, so what's she called? Something
she's the angel of Verdun, or Full Metal Bitch.
Full Metal Bitch. Yeah, Full Metal Bitch is like fun. Her. That's kind of like the like slang, derogatory slang for her, but the angel of Vellum or whatever.
Verdun.
Verdun. Yeah, because that's where she fought. You find out later.
It was her first day too, so everyone was like, he was like doing the exoskeletons, right? He was like, these exosuits are going to be the thing. Look at the Angel of Verdun. It was her first day on the combat, and she went and like wiped out hundreds of them. So it's the suit,
right?
And then guess what? It's not the suit.
Exactly. You find out. So in the middle, like, Cage gets dropped on the beach again, and then he meets Rita, and she's like, next time you die, come find me. So he wakes up, he goes through the cycle, finds her, and then it's like, and then they work together now to go through the cycle. And then you find out that Rita is working alongside this scientist dude who believes her, Dr. Carter, and he has like, it's all too convenient, but it just moves the plot along. But he's figured out that like, oh, you'll have visions, and the visions will show you where this like Omega is, which is the hub, which is like the whatever, it's the mother.
It's the single organism, essentially. They're saying it's the hive, the queen. It's it's all the same shit. Yeah, kill the queen, kill them all.
Exactly. Explain it just like it's a hive mind. Kill the main Omega, and it'll kill all of them. And they're like, they kind of break down that like it's a theory and all that. But anyways, so they go through this, and like it's kind of cool. It shows them like going through, it countless times, could be hundreds, thousands of times that he's had to die, and they've trained, and now he's become like war torn, and he's like grizzled, and like together they've trained. So it's like Cage and Rita, they're really strong, and they go out, and it's like they make it like as far as they've ever made it, and they get to this like helicopter in this like farmhouse that's like right on the edge of town because they're trying to head for Germany or something, and so anyways,
Yeah, that's where the visions are.
Yeah, one of the visions tells them to go to this dam in Germany. They go, it turns to be like a psych out. They've tricked them because like the aliens kind of they can warp time too. Like one of the like the commander aliens.
He's stuck in the loop. He's like controls the loop now, so they want to like catch him so that to get his blood, so they can control the loop again. Because every time he dies, it resets instead of them.
Right, exactly. So that's the whole thing, and that's like the aliens can
because he got the Alpha's blood. It's like the super special version.
Right. Yeah, the Alphas. That's what they're called. But anyways, so the climax of this is he has to convince his old barracks buddies, the like Unit J or whatever. He has to convince them to go to the Louvre because that's where it truly is. That's where the second vision happens, and he's like, oh, it's in the bottom of the Louvre somewhere. And so he convinces his crew to go, and they're just fodder, and they get destroyed. And then, Rita, whatever, sacrifices herself, and Tom Cruise jumps down, and he pulls the pins on the grenades, and you're like, oh, and he has like that last fight underwater with one of the Alphas, and like the grenades go in, and they blow it up, and then you think like Tom Cruise is dead or whatever, but I mean, he's not going to die for sure, 100%. And then he obviously the Omega like gives him powers, and now he becomes like. He's the queen, I guess, technically, but he wakes up again.
It's just a convenient way to restart it even earlier.
Right. And so he wakes up on the plane where he was at like the beginning of the movie before he goes into the time loop. But anyways, so he wakes up, and then it's like happily ever after. They've all survived because it reset, or like it's weird because it reset after it got destroyed and the hive mind got just deleted. And it killed all the aliens. So, like, that's where the new reset is.
And they're like, sometime around midnight. And then it just ends. Like, the war just ends. And the movie just ends. And he's like, he goes to meet up with Rita, who they've sort of formed a relationship. Right, gives her that quirky look. She's like, what? What do you want? And he's like, you don't know all the things we've been through, but I'm about to tell you.
Right. Exactly, yeah.
We ended the war.
Right, exactly. And it's it's one of those things where it's like, this is the first day, the first moment we've ever met to you, but to me, it's been, eternity. Right. We've known each other for so long, and it's kind of that like it's happily ever after, but it also kind of leaves it on a cliffhanger, which Live, Die, Repeat is rumored to be in production, but that would be I don't know exactly where they would go with it. I don't really know the manga too well, so.
Well, I mean, honestly, I wish they would. I was kind of surprised because it's like.
This did really well.
I thought it did pretty good. It was.
Critically, really, but like it got butts and seats, so it's like
I feel like they obviously struggled with the marketing. I remember, especially on the like DVD release, they couldn't decide what to call it. They wanted to change the name to Live, Die, Repeat.
Actually,
blah, blah, blah.
That's the fucked up thing, dude. It's always been called Edge of Tomorrow, but Live, Die, Repeat was like they wanted that to be more like a bold. It's like Live, Die, Repeat, Edge of Tomorrow, and it's like. But Edge of Tomorrow was like the marketing that they did. That's how they marketed it in theaters.
Yeah. Well, and then they like changed it, and then they like changed it back or something. It was super confusing for just regular people wanting to just buy it. They weren't sure what movie is what. But I was surprised that this movie wasn't like because this movie kind of has a lot of elements I thought would have easily greenlit a sequel. It's like a relatively original idea it's a cool. Premise, it's got some pretty fun sci-fi action. Tom Cruise, like it's kind of got all the markings of like, oh, let's make a fucking franchise out of this thing. And I was kind of surprised they didn't because does seem like it kind of fell off into obscurity and now is weirdly like a cult classic in a way. Like a lot of people really, I don't know. Like a lot of people are like, oh, that movie's underrated. It should have got more, which I kind of agree, but I definitely think it's got many flaws. But it's cool. It's a good movie. I like it. I didn't put it on my letterbox yet, but it's probably 3.5 stars for me.
Oh, 3.5. I gave it 2.5 because it just sits. It's a movie that I saw once and I felt very satisfied. And so this viewing is my second viewing. I don't know about you, right?
Same.
Second,
Yeah, same.
Yeah. So this is my second viewing, and I remembered like everything, and I didn't. It was kind of one of those like I was like, oh, I did not need to watch this again, and I had no desire to watch it again. And I'm happy, I guess, to have like, you know, fulfilled that like thought in my head to be like, you know, to justify that I'm like, okay, I got everything I wanted out of this. I think it made me reflect on all of the Groundhog's Day premises that have existed. And it's like, what I think that's what I put in my review too, is like, what's the next Groundhog's Day premise? Like, what movie is going to be the next one to use it? And
that's the thing about this podcast too now, is because I'm kind of right there with you. Like, I remembered everything. I was like, I remember quite enjoying it, and then remembering like, oh, it kind of fizzled out at the end for me. And then so rewatching it, and I think a lot of movies are like this. Like, I usually pick up on newer things, but watching things for the podcast, I'm obviously looking at it with a slightly more critical eye, because I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta have shit to talk about, and so I'm like dissecting it a little bit more. And this time around, it was unfortunate because I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, everything I liked, I still like, but now I'm like just paying more attention to what I don't like. You know what I mean? Which is like sort of unfortunate, and is like that kind of like film critic, like analyze, like I don't know, like I was just kind of picking this movie apart more, and so it's like, you know, in my mind it was maybe 4 stars, and now I'm like, I think it's a net positive, but it's like a lot of things more irritated me. But I like these Groundhog Day type movies. It's a whole genre now, and
it really has been.
It's like a sci-fi subgenre that can fit into anything.
That's what I loved about the original, Groundhog's Day, which isn't like it's not the first time to really, like, it's weird though, because it is the first time to have that like true time loop. Like, they've done it in like TV formats and stuff, you know, and like different ways, but like that true time loop where it's like they have to like, basically that's the character development. It's just like, you're
reliving
mistakes you make
the same day. And like
and
learning everything, and then it's like this constant, like, it is very much a trope that fits within different genres at this point, because like Groundhog Day is like a romantic comedy, I guess,
right?
And then it's like, but then you got the sci-fi with this, and then you got like the more recent one that I actually like, the Palm Springs. Did you see that?
I did, yeah. I really like Palm Springs.
Palm Springs is really good, but then Happy Death Day, yeah, it's pretty good. Happy Death Day is kind of good too, but unfortunately, it's PG-13 for a slasher, which is a bummer. Like this, I'm like, sure, but a slasher, a PG-13 slasher bums me out. But I cool premise, it works, you know.
Right, I was gonna say, I think this premise just invites a PG-13 appeal. Like I think they want to make it like family friendly. I guess.
Well,
I don't know.
It's because they want all the. This is like the 13-year-old boy's fantasy. Like, the super cool exoskeleton from an anime with her big ass anime sword, which is awesome. You know what I mean? And that's kind of
beautiful, though. I love it too.
That's the best stuff. Her on the beach with the anime sword is so dope, and then she never uses it again after the second half of the movie.
Oh my!
Such a bummer.
Oh my good gosh, that made me so upset. I was like, they have this like, it sucks because I think Emily Blunt, they like wanted to make her badass and cool, and they succeed, but like then they just like shy away from her being badass. She's more cool by just being there and standing in, and it sucks because she actually got pregnant during production, and so I think she had to kind of slow, like, because she was doing all her own stunts with Tom Cruise, and so like when she got pregnant, she had to kind of like tone it down, you know. And then they didn't. I mean, they could have obviously put a stunt double in and stuff. They could have like given her more action, but I think like for what they kind of just knew, like, okay, she's not going to be like the face of it, because she did all of her own stunts, like all that shit on the beach where she's flipping around and like killing them.
Nice.
Dude, watching like the behind the scenes, I'll post it on go to r/Cult of Cinema Knowledge.
Good plug.
And I'll post it on Reddit, because like it is a dope video, and
I'd love to see that, because I like Emily Blunt. We don't. Tom Cruise is whatever. He's Tom Cruise, right? And so
yeah, he's Tom Cruise. That's the thing. He's kind of one.
But Emily,
and he does good. So.
Emily Blunt is the heart of this movie, though, her character, right? And she's the only one in character development. After there was so much character development with her, I realized I don't know anything about Tom Cruise's character other than his name and sort of his job. I don't know anything about his background. Like, I know her. She's like my middle name, my family, my brother, blah, blah, blah. Like, she's got all this, like, tragic history. And he's just like, I'm just like, I'm the protagonist. You know what I mean? Like,
it really, like, all his character development is, I'm scared of blood, and now I'm not really that scared of blood. Like, that's literally it. And so it just kind of like, you're like, okay. Like, he kind of just tells you his character development through the whole movie, you know, and you're like, that's fine. That's cool. And like, but I wish that Emily Blunt's character was the main character. Like, I would be cool if
she is, but it's, but like, not
her,
really
like,
though.
From her perspective, it'd be so cool from her perspective, which she saw Tom Cruise, like, die again, you know, and come back or something. Like, I don't know, it'd just be better through her lens and like to really follow her. But I think they did a great job at building their rapport. Like, I really liked them together, and watching them run in the mechs was dope. I'd be like, every time the beach scene, every beach scene was so cool. I wish there was more of it, because it was just like the chaos, and it looked like, cinematography wise, just looked the best. It had like the bright blue sky and the beaches with all that. Like, it was just cool. It
felt like an anime. Like, it felt like there were panels where I'm like, this is a panel. Right. Like, they just took it from, and they had to have, with her big dick sword. You know what I mean?
I mean, well, and then, like, and it's all like basically was animated, because like 99% of all the shots were like CG.
I'm surprised they didn't get an anime spinoff. That would have been great, because honestly, it's just that would have been
and
begging
manga
for it.
to anime is what I thought. Yeah, it's like that would just
begging for it.
That would make sense. But I was bummed because it didn't have as much, like, I remember watching it this time, thinking about the first time I watched it, I thought there was a lot more practical, and like, there is so little practical in this. Like, the suits are real, like, you
sometimes,
but it's like, exactly, they're real when you know they're real.
You can tell. At the time, I didn't really know, but now I can definitely be like, oh, those are CG right now. Like, when they're showing them off at the beginning and they're getting in, and it's like, oh, okay, that's an actual thing they put on. You know what I mean? It's like, you can tell.
Right. It's kind of a bummer, because, and that, like, it sucks because, not to discredit anything, they really did work hard. Like, the suits were heavy as shit, and like, they wore real ones, a lot of production, and even when it's CG, they're still wearing a practical suit, clearly.
Yeah.
But literally, they've cleaned up, or they superimposed over the suit they're wearing in CG.
That's what I thought too, to give it more detail, or like make the guns move and stuff.
Yeah, it was wild.
It was weird sometimes. The movement felt weird sometimes because of that.
Like, I watched that, like, you know, featurette that was like behind the scenes, and like, I'll post it on Reddit, and like, there's so many times where I'm like, they're wearing the suit, but the suit is so stripped down, you know? It just gives them that motion of the clunkiness, you know, that they're in it. And so it's like, I'm like, oh man, like, in the movie, it's all cleaned up, and it's like, really, I'm like, oh man, it's such a bummer, where I'm like, these suits by themselves hold up really well, and when it's just their suit, it's beautiful. But the one part that really bummed me out, like, all the outside scenes with CG, I totally get that. It's just, it looks fine and it's serviceable and it moves the plot, but when they're in the training room, no spinning blade things.
Every time he gets hit, and it's just like, boo!
Not a single thing is practical in there.
No.
And that is so depressing. Like, it's wild, dude. When you watch behind the scenes, it's like they're in a room, and then there's literally like maybe 10% prop, and then the rest is green screen, and then them just flipping around on wires. And it's like, not even, like, there's no crane arm coming at them or anything. It's like crazy. Like, they have like a couple props that are like green screen things, you know, whatever, like the actual like movement things that they interact with, but it's like so minimal, where I'm like, you could have easily made a machine that spins, and they just hit
and
it.
The worst part is, it's like, I'm not even that mad about that, but that is the most noticeable, that it's just like all green screen for sure.
It takes me out of it.
It took me out of it too, but it's like, I'm like, the crane things, sure, their suits, sure, but it's like the actual floor and walls look like a weird low render, like they're like, it's just a concrete block. Like, they couldn't even have the environment feel real. Like, it didn't even need to be green screen. Like, just film them in this environment with wires, take the wires out, add the fucking crane things if you want, but at least there's nothing to ground it. So it feels really floaty. Every time they're in there, it feels like a virtual reality like room.
Yeah.
And it
right,
could have
that's a
been,
good-
but it's like, it's
Well,
not.
they added such
It's like such a thing. It's
whatever-
like, I don't know.
They added like
It's
a
fine.
digital effect on it that has like this like depth of field haze to it. It's a
Yeah,
weird.
no, I agree.
It's like yeah. It just seems weird, and it seems like, I guess it's just not like a through line because there's a lot of times where they'll shoot, and I guess it's like going from like the super high CG rendered to them on the beach in an actual dirt pit with like real dirt blowing up next to them. You can it's to me I'm like this is like night and day.
It is.
Like,
It's jarring.
crazy.
It's kind of jarring. Yeah.
Crazy, yeah, to see that. And I think like, 10 years ago, or wait, 10 years ago? Yeah, oh my
10
God, yeah.
years ago.
And
Yeah.
10 years ago, it wasn't as. It's weird how those like.
I didn't notice it as much, I guess. Yeah, back then. And I'm like, yeah, it's like, is that time or is that me just paying more attention now? Is it that me just being?
Well,
I mean, 10 years ago, we were still pretty filmy, But
no,
it's
exactly.
like,
No, and I think I was thinking about that as well. I remember being like, oh, the creatures are CG, but that doesn't bother me because it's like they're kind of impossible to make.
and the
I mean,
movement's
you can make
so
them practical.
cool and fast that it kind of works.
Right.
You know what I
Right,
mean?
exactly. They're kind of. I mean, they kind of. It's a bummer because they have a little bit of that like that Transformer, like that mid 2000s Transformer movement look to them almost and sound.
Oh,
But it's crazy because
yeah.
do you know Guillermo del Toro created those, which is wild. But
Fun. Well, I like the design of like the alphas. They look super creepy because they actually have a face, and the other ones barely
and,
do. Like they do. But.
And the Omega, the Queen looks cool too. And it's like I think it's like those are passable because it's like they're CG, and that's how they exist. It's like they have kind of impossible movements, and it's like I kind of wish there could have been practical through a little bit of it, but it's like even besides that, it just they work, they function. But it was just weird to see the world around them be so, CG, and so that's pretty much the end of my CG rant because that's kind of like
I know
that's besides the point for the actual story itself.
Because that's the thing.
It's serviceable.
I'm not even that mad about the CG. Like honestly, that's the thing. It's like the middle of this movie I really enjoyed. The first like after they got past the opening bit, like the whole him discovering and then like all that.
Yeah.
It's like this movie's entertaining. I like the time loop. I think the action's pretty good, if not sort of sterile. And I feel like we're ripping on this movie a lot, which it's like I did enjoy it. I do enjoy this movie.
Yeah. Oh, I highly recommend it. If you've never seen it, that's I think that's kind of where
it's
it goes.
cool.
Like,
yeah.
This is definitely we need to have like a
I'd rather this than another fucking DC or Marvel movie. You know what I mean? Like that's why it's like.
Right. Yeah.
I'm surprised this didn't blow up more.
I know, right? Yeah, it kind of is in that like perfect time, but it might have got outshadowed because like Marvel was really, I mean that was their
2014,
like,
yeah, it was.
Yeah, but I think that we need to have a thing that's like, is this worth a second watch? And this is kind of a movie that's not. I think that it's a
100% first watch. Second watch, not necessary, unless you really really enjoy it. Like I think it like background, like it's fun. Like I would, I'd show this to I would show this to like a filthy casual, moviegoer.
Well, no, and I think this does. I mean, that was a big thing. That was the buzz and a lot of the marketing behind this, word of mouth wise, was this is like a video game. That's the lore. Is like the whole idea of this movie came from like one person's idea of like, oh, when you die in a video game, you have to get a new strategy to win and beat the boss, and that's like that's where this premise really came from in their mind, the creator. And so like that was definitely something where I'm like, if you're really into video games, this does feel like a video game. There are times where they're like in shoot-offs, and I'm almost bummed that they didn't go to first person or like didn't try to make it more like a video game. Like
actually, I wish you could play this game, but it's a PS5 exclusive right now, or it's going to PC. But it reminded me a lot of Returnal, but Returnal's better because it's cosmic horror and more isolation. It is. Well, Returnal is like it's literally she goes on an alien planet, gets stuck in a time loop. Every time she dies, you have to restart. And
oh, shit. Okay, that's cool.
But it's super. It's more of a horror and more isolated. It's dope. Yeah. Returnal's dope, and it's like a roguelike though, which is like a perfect genre for it because you have to restart every time you die.
Okay.
Anyway, it was like I was like the whole time I was like, man, I'm gonna re-download Returnal, even though I can't. I fucking suck at it. It's hard as shit. But
Well, that's what's cool is like that's what's so fun about this movie is like the whole time I was watching this movie I was fantasizing about like, oh, it's cool to have like the idea of having like infinite time to perfect something, but then like they did a really good job in this movie at creating the conflict, the challenge of like, well, yeah, like every time they would get to a certain point, he, and it's very cheeky in this movie. He kind of looks at the camera and he goes, well, this is the farthest we've ever made it. Like it's, she's like, what do we do now? And he's like, well, I don't know. We've never made it this far. And I'm like, oh, that's cute. I love it. Like it's great. Like this is something I would love to be stuck in.
I want a Groundhog Day because it's like and I think I'm not alone because obviously these movies are fairly popular. I want a Groundhog Day movie though because they always kind of trip up in their own logic near the end because the whole premise is like they have all this time to redo everything. They see their faults. There's usually some mystery involved. So they like discover out this impossible thing. They learn shit about themselves. There's all this and that. And then they can never find a way to... The resolution in all these movies is kind of just like, well, it's got to end some way, somehow. So it ends. They figure they're out of the loop, whatever.
The power of love is how Groundhog's Day ends.
Exactly.
So
but like, they never... I want a movie that really deals... I mean, I think Palm Springs has kind of done it the best so far, but deals with like the existentialism of it. Because as I'm watching this, I'm like, okay, so he's gone through this scenario hundreds of times, and you got to think that's a day. And he's literally like, I've done this one thing 300 times. And so you're like, okay, so how long has he been stuck in this loop? Like hundreds of years at this point?
Yeah,
like honestly, he probably like hundreds of years to be able to do like just the beach training, right? Just to every little, like you duck, you dive, you left, you have to die every single time to be able to make an adjustment. And like, but then it's like, that doesn't work out. So they go down a totally different path. And then it's just like, they have to, like through editing, that's why it works for cinema. Through editing, they progress the story where it's like, oh, here's a ton of information we would give you that actually took several tries to get, right? Because, especially like every expedition dump, it's like, how would we still be carrying on a conversation when I have to start this progress? He's like, I've been looking for the dam. And I'm like, how did you even know about the dam? I had to tell you, and then you had to look for it, and I had to tell you where not to look every time. You know what I mean? That kind of shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, they never get... Because they alluded it in this one where it's like he knows her so well and he's like fallen in love with her. And that makes sense because he's been so close to her for years at this point in his own framework. Right. And then she's just like, oh, he knows my middle name now. So I love him too, I guess. So, I mean, it makes sense, and I'm glad they didn't dwell on that too much, because I was like, oh, yeah, no, I forgot this, like, romantic sub-angle, but it's minor. It's minor, so I was like...
50 First Dates. That was something I was like, oh, yeah, it's kind of got a little bit of that in there. Like,
right?
And 50 First Dates is kind of that time loop, a little bit.
Sort of,
kind of
with, like, her just brain damage. But she just wakes up pregnant, because that's the thing, it, like, moves around. Yeah. It's like a time loop, but the world moves on without you.
Yeah.
But you are stuck in the same day.
Right. And I was thinking about that. I'm like,
it's kind of more interesting. Anyway.
Right. Yeah.
But it's like the excess weird. So I read this book called Replay, and it's basically he doesn't relive every day. He relives his life though, and so he can basically every time he dies, he restarts over at a certain point, and then he can live through it again. Like he starts over at like 19, and then he lives until he dies again, and then he starts over at 19 again. And it tackles some of the existential stuff. Not a great book in my opinion, but it's like. I feel like nothing has really grasped the like, because they talked. I remember famously in Groundhog Day they talked about like earlier drafts. He got real dark with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like it was like because it gets to a point because it's obviously suicide and everything is like a huge factor in these types of movies.
Yeah.
And like murder and they get all crazy with it, but it's just like I don't know the existential implications of basically becoming immortal. Is going to change a person for a while, and especially coming out of it, it's like
that's the thing that no movie has tackled.
Hasn't quite gotten it right.
In this one especially, it was kind of glaring where it's like, he loses the power, and that's what I liked about this movie is that like they kind of know the rules. They basically said like, here's how the rules work. It's in your blood. And so if you have if you get blood transfusion, any kind of blood manipulation, you just immediately lose it. Like there's no, and that's what I like about this movie is like they didn't try to over explain those kind of things. This movie gets exposition dumpy, but it it's serviceable. But that when she comes in, and she's gonna kill him, and he's like, no, don't kill me. I got a blood transfusion, and it's like you're kind of just like, okay, but how do you like? I would be like, every single time, even if you've done this 1,000 times, 10,000 times, every time you go to put the gun to your head, you're gonna be like, is this real? Like, is this really gonna happen?
Am
Like,
I
am
actually
really
gonna wake up? Yeah.
That's
why I'm like,
and,
there's like
matter
this
what.
constant existential drama that these movies just sort of ignore. And I do think that because it's just becomes like, and it would become casual, but like, I don't know,
But
they
even
don't tap
then,
into
you-
it as much,
you'd still- Yeah, like I think that's what I think is fun is like if you are effectively immortal, like that's kind of what's fun about the vampire. Like you're like immortal, but like you do have this like you do have faults or you have vulnerabilities because it's like you are effectively dying or killing yourself. And you don't truly know, even though you've got to like it becomes habit.
You
really don't know, and like that's great. Yeah.
My stupid brain. You ever see that short? It's like a 5-minute comedy short. It's like fucking college humor,
100%.
where he comes in and, right, and is like, we'll post that on the Reddit too because that one's kind of fun.
Yes,
but like
go find that video.
That's
It's hilarious.
That's honestly done it kind of the best because he's like I've learned every book. I've fucking know everything. I've made love to you many times. He's like, sometimes I get bored and I just stab everyone to death. He's like, whoa, wait, what? Like, he's like, yeah, I just like, and like that honestly captures the like, when you become immortal, like nothing matters and no one matters. And like, I'm stuck in this infinite time loop and I've essentially lived this day for thousands of years. Like, that's just a weird thing to brush over. And most of these movies do kind of just brush over it.
Yeah.
And then it goes like, because like you wouldn't be the same after that. Your mind, you go insane. Yeah, like your mind, you're like, oh, I'm out of the loop now. And then you're like, we're in love and everything's happy. We fixed everything. And it's just like, how do I go back? Like this like so much therapy. Like I'm never gonna be the same, and your mind is atrophied or something. Like
I think age, like the inevitable time of age where you'd be looking at yourself in the mirror and be like, I'm gray, but I shouldn't be. I've already lived 100 years, like, and I'm like, but I am gray now, and it's only been like 20 years, and it's just like, I don't know, man.
Well,
I wish they would tackle that, but
I know, but anyway, this movie, let's get into I'm okay with the CG. I'm okay with everything, but honestly, my biggest qualm is the writing of the third act. I hate the third act so much because it's like the coming out of it, right? So it's like he gets the blood transfusion and it's fine, even though it's like a little on the nose, but it's like statistically, sure. But then immediately, like it was bound to happen, right? Like if he's died all these times, there's bound to be a time where it's like he loses a lot of blood, doesn't die, and then gets new blood and he's out the loop. And that's fine. But like after he loses his power, the movie continues on as almost as if they had this power still, where it's like suddenly everything up until this point is like so calculating. I'm dying by the dumbest things. And it's like, but then suddenly everything is perfect luck. Literally the scene before,
I know.
They had they were trying to escape this government building and then a whole army shooting at them. And they eventually got killed by these two mech guys, like in the streets. But then in the next scene, they're like, oh, well, we don't have that anymore. And they just escape. They don't even kill anyone. They just escape. They just get out of there.
Basically it's like, all right, let's move the plot forward.
But and from then there on out, everything is perfect. There's nothing goes wrong. They don't need to use like everything. It's like,
well, and that's
I
what
get
I said
it's their
about
knowledge.
Is like they get J Squad because they're fodder. Like they kill every single person in J Squad unceremoniously. Like without even like 3 of them die without off screen. Not even like a mention. They're just gone. you're like, oh, okay. I guess it's like it really didn't tackle like.
And it's fine that they were such secondary characters, and it was like a suicide mission and everything. But it's just like,
yeah.
I don't know. The fact too, they know every detail about their lives. It's like, how long have you lived? You know what I mean? Like literally.
Oh.
But it's like everything goes absolutely perfectly, and it's fine because I get that it's supposed to be tension. But at that point, my suspension of disbelief is gone now. Like, I was on board for all the crazy wacky stuff, and then now, like, it was like the time loop and all their shit that they had to get from point A to point B through trial and error and all this to become these super advanced, like, fucking calculating soldiers that they are. And now it's just pure luck. And I felt very, very aware that I was watching a movie that was written after the fact. Like, I was not in the movie at all anymore. They go to the fucking Louvre, and I'm like, these guys sacrifice themselves, and then there's no big boss battle at the end, really. He sort of fights an alpha and dies and then blows up the thing, and then it's like, well, we don't know how to end these kind of movies, so it just goes, yeah, dude, I'm just...
The swimming, dude, the swimming got me so bad, because I'm like, he, like, drops... I mean, it's cool that he falls with the mech, and he goes to the bottom, but he survives, great. And then he goes again at the bottom of the Louvre. For some reason, there's, 50 feet of water underneath that, which must be a real thing. I have no idea.
Yeah, we've never been to fucking Paris.
I'm not going to La France, but he like goes down and he's swimming. You're going to tell me that creature can't swim faster than a human being? But regardless of that, why it's too convenient that it's under the Louvre? Like that creature can, presumably live anywhere. Why wouldn't it just be under the mantle or like underneath the Antarctica? Like, why wouldn't it be
something, right?
Somewhere far away? I don't know.
That's why a sequel of like expanding the alien invasion, like, because it's fine, but like
that would be cool. Because do they mention that in this movie? Or I was reading some behind the scenes and I can't remember if they mention it.
That's the thing. If the asteroid crashed and then it's like, then they destroyed Paris. At what point did this giant slithering mother hive come and like be like, all right, this is the perfect place. And
right
I'm like,
underneath the Louvre.
And it's like, if that's the case, where was it the whole time before that? Was it just hanging out in the open at the asteroid crash site or something? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. And then I don't know. God, maybe do they say it in the movie where it's like this could be potentially anywhere in the galaxy? These I don't think they mention that, do they?
No. Well, they're like this thing works like an infection, like it just goes and goes and goes, and he's like, it could be. Or am I mixing that up? I just read something that was sort of similar, where it's like, it could be on any planet, you know what I mean? Anywhere.
No, I think he does. I think the doctor says that when he's briefing him when they meet, where he's like, oh, they potentially could be anywhere in the galaxy.
Been reading a lot of sci-fi lately, so I'm getting mixed up.
I was reading some behind the scenes, and like that was in the original script. They were thinking about showing it more widely, like the aliens outside of planet Earth, like towards the end. And then that was an idea for the sequel as well, as making it wider, broadening it. But I don't know. Yeah, I can't remember if they do that. But that's something that I would love to see explored. And I'd be there for a sequel. So it's like
I'd 100% be there for a sequel. Like, just have, because there's a lot of stories I think you could tell in this universe, which is why I'm surprised that it didn't pick off the way it did, because you could stick with the same characters, or you could go with completely different characters in different scenario. You know what I mean? Like these aliens, even like the whole war, like you could literally do someone else had an entire also one of these during the same day. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, it'd be cool. It'd be cool if Tom Cruise became some sort of he would be some sort of time wielder or some mother, because he bonds with the mother.
I honestly don't think he does. I think it's just literally like, oh, this is the reset, and then it just resets him. He has no. I feel like it's more implied that it's just like everything's fine now, and I'm normal, and everything's normal, and everything's happy.
I don't know. The fact that he goes and finds Rita kind of leads me to believe that he knows.
Well, he knows she's going to be there. Oh, no, he knows everything. That's the thing. He still retains all the memories. But he's no longer repeating, but he got everything reset, so he's not dead, is the only thing. If the movie had the balls to just be like,
I know.
This was a suicide mission, it blows up, and then it's the next day, and everyone's like, we defeated him. Like, I think that would have had a way better impact, but obviously that just doesn't. And also would have worked better for the whole time loop thing. Logically,
it would have been cool if they were they're just like, we lost Rita. And
they died as heroes, and maybe they're not even known, and maybe they're even fucking be like
that. Yeah, that's what would be cool. Is they it'd be kind of cool if they were looked at negatively, like Cage and Rita were deserters, like kind of how they were,
Honestly, though, right?
At the beginning, it'd be kind of cool where it's like they didn't show up on the battlefield, but yet we know as an audience member that they saved you. They saved you.
Stay tuned we're gonna write our own time loop movie. that has like an ending of them just dying and just deals with the existential dread of just being alive for too long.
Oh no, dude. I mean, no. If I made mine, it would be like the
the darkest thing ever.
I would I'd hang myself upside down and like put a pinhole in my throat and just bleed out and see how long it would take to like hang upside down and bleed out. Like the amount of like deaths I would do to myself to just see how like push the limits of a human being. That would be, it would be pretty cool. But just the thought, dude, the idea that it's not going to work this time. Like I just can't like to grapple with that.
Yeah.
Tell you folks out there in podcast land. Tell us, what existential crisis do you come?
I want to know
with repeating your life forever.
Your Groundhog Day. Tell us if you're listening to this. First of all, thank you. We love you. Second of all, I want you to go to do it on the Reddit or DM me or whatever. I just want to know if there's some Groundhog Day type fiction out there that does tackle this. That I'm not like a book or something that I just don't know because I don't know. I'm fairly limited to film because that's who we are. This is a cult of cinema knowledge.
And film and like I wouldn't have known about this manga unless this movie came out. So it's like there's whole cultures out there that have, I'm sure, their own. And so I would love to. Yeah.
Well, I like this subgenre, right? Because it, like I said, it fits into everything. Yeah. So it's like I want to see a good horror that's not too zany like Happy Death Day, though I love it.
No, yeah, Happy Death Day is dope, but it's like
it's pretty fun.
Yes, it's PG-13, so
it's like, zany. And did you see the second one?
No.
It explains the whole thing more, and it's like way more sci-fi.
Okay.
It's pretty fun. Also, it's fun too, but it's still also just like I don't know. But like that guy that did that, because last week we were talking about, because he also did Freaky, which is like the body swap.
And Freaky's amazing.
Freaky's great.
So I love Freaky.
I like that he's taken these premises, because it's like the body swap trope, and then the fucking Groundhog Day kind of trope. Like, I'm interested to see these in different type scenarios. So if you got something cool, send it my way. That reminded me, you know what other two minor things about this movie that drove me nuts. They're minor, though. These are nitpicks, but I have to mention them. I said trope just now, and you know what I hate? One of my least favorite tropes in movies, period, is... Have you ever heard of anyone ever leaving their keys in the fucking visor of a car?
Yes, I thought of that. Oh my god!
It's in so many movies, and when she looked up there and it's there, I was just like, "That's just lazy, whatever." Like,
yes, no, I 100%. When that
happened,
I thought about it, and I went, oh, that's a plot. That is a trope. It's just a
trope. So many movies do it. They just need to get the car, and they don't want to be explained these guys can hotwire or whatever.
It made me laugh because, like, it works. It works. That's what I loved about the scene when he's patching her up, and she's like, where are the helicopter keys? And he has them. That's cool. But I'm like, if there was a vehicle someone was gonna leave their keys in, is a helicopter. I feel like my car getting stolen and my helicopter getting stolen are two, like, I think one has a higher chance of getting stolen.
Yeah, right. That's true.
Where my keys is probably not.
And like that car was basically just abandoned there because it's the end of the world, and like all the like post-apocalyptic set there was cool.
They were like,
but like it would just make more sense if it was just in the ignition and like.
I know. Because
honestly, somebody just abandoned their car, or like a corpse next to the car, or there's a corpse in the car that's got the keys in them. I don't know. I know. It's something. Every time I see it, I'm just like.
It is, yeah. It is. It's definitely one of those, like, it's eye rolling where you're just like, okay, they had to do it that way. Go for it.
My second thing,
the cell phone, yeah, everything.
My second thing is, I honestly think this would have helped the action scenes feel better. But I listened to this movie with headphones, and the sound mix was fucking not good. It's so flat. Everything is the same volume. And so the action scenes are like, they have no punch because it's the same, and which is nice. I understand, like, sometimes you're watching a movie and the dialogue's quiet and then the action scenes are too much. Yeah. But it's just like the guns are like, and they're like everything is the exact same volume. And so it doesn't matter. Like, give the guns a punch, like make it punchy. Like, I don't know, even the monsters are not punchy. The sound was very boring. And the score, the score
was flat as hell. Yeah.
It's so flat, and there was barely any score.
This is generic. It's generic but then it's got a sci-fi twist, which is fun,
It's
that's what put me in the seat.
It's above.
My butt.
It's slightly above because of these things, but it's held. It's disappointing because it's so held back by. It's so limiting by its restrictions of the generic shit surrounding it. You know what I mean? It's like this could have. Like I tried to imagine this movie made by like more of a. I don't know. It'd be like an auteur, but like.
But
honestly,
Guillermo del Toro comes to mind because Pacific
that'd be
Rim.
great.
I feel like Pacific Rim is what it's like what that genre can be.
Yeah,
where it is
100%.
It's got the perfect blend between like heart and comedy and action, and then sci-fi and monsters, and it just Pacific Rim really does work kind of perfectly. Like it's a fantastic movie.
Over the years, I have more appreciation for Pacific. Like I liked it anyway, but like. I have more appreciation for it because it's like it just is way harder to do that right.
Yeah.
To like really just kind of make it work where it's like dumb and fun, but also has its own identity and is stylish and like, you know, like I don't know. This movie, not to rip on the director or anything, but it's just like Michael Bay even like this feels like Michael Bay at the time. But that's the thing.
Yeah.
It feels very just like CG. Like I don't know. It's cool. It's cool, but it's brought down it's brought down by literally everything we talked about for the last hour.
I know, yeah. And I wanted to know.
I think it's a net positive. Net positive.
How many times has Tom Cruise ridden a motorcycle in movies? And we go through, and I was thinking about it in this. I can't think of a movie where he doesn't ride a motorcycle.
Yeah, man. I don't
let me know out there in podcast land. Tell me what motorcycle Tom Cruise does not sit on or ride a motorcycle.
Tom Cruise is sort of an enigma, man. I don't know about that guy.
Oh yeah, he's someone who like I want to like him more, but there's just something about him. Like, oh dude, when he becomes hardened and it's like end of second act, third act, where he has to like where he's in the zone now, and how he's just sitting there and he's like yeah, looks like a dead man in my suit, huh? And then he's like boom, and he's like this, he's just like he's flawless and cool.
Yeah,
he does not have a cool macho man face. He's got like he has a cool under pressure and like doing stunts and stuff. Like he looks fine. Like he has that composure and it's nice, and like he's a really good stunt man.
He's intimidating like a psychopath that's gonna fucking murder you like Patrick Bateman style.
Right.
But yeah, he's not like a badass. He's like the he's like
it's just so funny. I was laughing when he was like trying to brood and like look cool. They literally his makeup's different. Like he looks like 30 years older. It was weird.
Yeah,
It was so weird how they tried to make him look kind of tough,
like haggard and tough. Yeah,
weathered. And I was laughing. I was like, Tom Cruise, you are too much of like a pretty boy.
You know what?
Like on that. So
we didn't. we got to real quick and fire off because we talked about it too. We suck. We talked about it too much before the podcast. We didn't even mention Bill Paxton once. I just need to say. We talked about Bill Paxton for like 20 minutes before the fucking podcast. R.I.P. Bill Paxton was great in this. We almost didn't realize it was him.
I really didn't.
Him just doing a speech about the glorious combat. Like, I don't know. He's dope.
Yeah.
He's dope.
Bill Paxton, I'm really sad. I forgot that he passed away. And so like I was really bummed because I was like, oh man, where's he been? Obviously.
In the grave. He's reliving his last day over and over. I hope not, because I'm pretty sure he died in surgery or something. So.
Oh yeah.
But maybe he can know a way to get out of it. He's like, fuck that, I ain't dying in surgery.
Yeah.
He's
so oh man, now I'm sad. I wanna.
Yeah, Bill Paxton. We were talking, dude. We talked about Bill Paxton for far too long. We should have saved it for the podcast. We were talking about like Frailty and shit.
We always do that because Frailty's an amazing film,
Frailty's
and I
dope.
love that. I love that he got to make that. Like it's cool that Bill Paxton left that for us.
Well,
so I recommend go watch Frailty and listen to our podcast about that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Tom Cruise, man. I wish. I want to.
I liked him more.
Well, he's got something because he's not a bad actor. That's the thing. He's a better actor than like.
It's his behind the scenes. It's
because he can't.
Him in real life.
He can't. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. He's a fucking psycho. But like, he can't. Like, he's a good actor, but he doesn't completely dissolve to his role. He's never not Tom Cruise. You know what I mean? And it's like even in the roles where it's like
for one role that I will always remember Tom Cruise as being amazing, and you know it.
It's Magnolia. Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunders.
I was gonna say Magnolia.
No, Magnolia is the one where he is Tom Cruise, but he actually like Magnolia and Vanilla Sky and like Eyes Wide Shut. Those are like the Tom Cruise.
Those are the good Tom Cruise, but Tropic
they're
Thunder
like
is
Tom
the holy shit. That's Tom Cruise.
Right. And that Tropic Thunder is where he's playing a character and it's really funny and like he's a chameleon in that. But like in the other ones I've mentioned, he plays the typecast character that I expect him to be. Yeah. He plays it as kind of like this like buttoned up like sinister, but like about to snap. Like,
well, now it's like now he's just been doing these Mission Impossible movies for the last decade. Right. Which I guess is fine. And then, Top Gun Maverick, go listen to that episode.
Well, he really is he's a stuntman that became a front boy. Like he's a stuntman that became an action or like a whatever movie star. Like he wanted to do stunts more than anything, but he you
go back and look at like a Risky Business or something. You know what I mean? It's like old pretty boy Tom Cruise. Anyway, that's it. That's Edge of Tomorrow. Live, Die, Repeat. Whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's pretty cool. But
yeah, we're missing segments here, bud. So we got to do Money Minute real quick.
Oh God, yeah.
And then give me some Reddits. I'll give you the Money Minute.
Help me.
My mind was blown. This movie was $180 million budget.
Wow.
I did not expect that. I mean, it looks beautiful, but I swear to God, I've seen movies for 50 million that do the same thing.
I would have thought 100 max. I would have been like between 80 and 100 is what I would have thought.
90 was on my mind, and when I looked it up, it was 100. It's like 178 million.
Fucking double.
Like, wow. Where'd that go? Tom Cruise, I'm sure, but
I mean, but all the CG, I guess, was more expensive. It's like we were learning. Like we're learning now with like, I mean, we've always known this, and people have always known this, but like, finally, CG is getting like. Godzilla -1 or whatever got nominated for the best VFX, and the VFX are really good. And like that movie had like a $30 million budget. You know what I mean? So,
right. And I think that's just it. Yeah, it's like where we are in the timeline. But 2014 is too late because like I just listened to like a great podcast about the Twin Towers or about Lord of the Rings. Not
that's a great podcast.
No, not that. No. About how they filmed all the Lord of the Rings, and because they shot, dude, I didn't realize that they shot all three of them at the exact same time.
We talked about this.
100% linear, dude.
No.
I didn't know that.
Did we? Yes, we did Fellowship of the Ring. We did that episode. And we've
never done it.
We did fucking go listen. We did Fellowship of the Ring.
Dude, I don't think we've ever done it.
100%. We've done Fellowship of the Ring.
Watched the Lord of the Ring.
I don't think we talked. You talked about in depth about how they had made the first one, and then during production of the first one, they got the budgeting and approval, and then they went right in and they did this 2 and 3, all at the same time while finishing up the first one.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. Sometimes you forget.
I know it felt good. It felt good that I can flip it around on you. And Point Break apparently.
Oh yeah, and Point Break. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot that we did.
Feels good for once.
We did do it, and that's right. And that's like my least favorite one. But anyways, we'll have to go through and do the whole trilogy or something, or watch. I know. The last two.
Nah, because I watched all 3 of them together.
Oh, okay, yeah. But anyways, I'm getting at those movies. Those 3 movies cost $300 million, and this movie was like 180. So it's just kind of wild that like. That it's
crazy,
just where we are with time and stuff. But I don't know that whole movie.
It's too much.
That trilogy.
That's probably I don't understand. And honestly, it's probably that fucking marketing disaster that this movie was. It's probably some of that.
Yeah, I think that definitely hurt it. And sci-fi is always kind of in a weird like where like District 9. I was thinking of District 9 a lot during this.
Yeah,
and how like District 9 is just kind of in this weird like everyone loves it like that likes film, but like a mass audience. It didn't perform great. But you
remember, I remember the fucking District 9, like no one knew what it was. We should watch District 9 because I remember I was taking the bus everywhere when District 9 came out, and they had on the bus the advertisements that it was like no humans only, and then it had like the outline crossed out, and I'm like, what is this? And then we all went and saw it, and no one knew it was like a mockumentary to start out too. So we're like, what the fuck is this movie?
Yeah, that's great.
First time seeing District 9, and I'll never forget it. Anyway. Wow. Let's button this up. How much did it make?
It made $371 million. So
okay. How did it not immediately get greenlit for a sequel though? That's the thing. It's like
I think that it did, but it's been in production because there's a sequel in production right now. So it's like, but it's in that like pending production, So who the hell knows? It's been 10 years. So
yeah,
who knows
we'll
what's
see.
gonna happen.
We'll fucking see. Well, anyway, here's a couple of Reddits, and then we're fucking out of here. Shaken Ice Water says, this is a great movie. Since the first time I saw it, I watch it once every couple of years. Dope. I'm glad you enjoy it enough to rewatch, because it does feel like this could easily be someone's like comfort movie. Like I can 100% see this being like this is a comfort watch. You know what I mean? On a repeat.
And this is one where I'm like, I don't think you're foolish to watch it again. I just think it's like one and done is fine.
Well, it's not one that you don't get anything extra from one, because we've talked about in the past where it's just like rewatching again can recontextualize a movie, or you notice more details.
Like this, I
pace is the editing. The editing is fucking good.
The editing is flawless. Like I paused it and I was like an hour 13 in, and I was like, oh, I was like, wow, I didn't realize I'm like more than halfway done. I felt like it just started. Like, you know, so I was like,
the
okay,
pace.
cool.
We didn't honestly, the editing is fucking stellar in this.
Yeah.
So Clones for People 2 says, first watch, I'd heard good things about this and I liked it more than I expected. The action is solid, the effects look great, and the plot is a lot of fun and very well structured. The plot could have so easily become repetitive and tedious, but great editing and a playful sense of humor keep it fresh throughout. I find films like this can sometimes underestimate the intelligence of the audience and overuse exposition, so I'm glad this was able to keep going without constantly trying to explain what's happening. I think it was a good idea to set it in a D-Day type scenario to bring an instant familiarity to the routine. The ending was a small letdown for me. It wasn't as good as the rest of the film, and I think it's because the time reset gimmick is gone, and risks are now higher, but it didn't feel like that. Fucking exactly, right? That's what I'm saying.
Well said. Yeah, well said.
The romantic side of the story was interesting and thankfully stayed in the background, but I thought the ending on it was odd. Overall, very good. What I want from a sci-fi action. Okay, yeah, couldn't have said it better.
Yeah, dude.
Where's your fucking podcast? I just spent an hour saying the fucking thing.
I know, saying we're just gonna. That's what we'll do. We'll start the podcast with the Reddits, and then we'll just stop talking.
That's just more incentive to go to the goddamn Reddit. So thank you guys for those of you that comment on the Reddit. I really appreciate it.
You Clones for People 2, you mentioned that it's D-Day. They literally did that on purpose. It is like, I mean, it's a plot in the manga, but they did it on purpose because they released this movie on the anniversary, the 70th anniversary of D-Day, June 6th, 2014. So it's like crazy that they did that. You know, it's like kind of like,
that's a fun factoid.
Yeah, it's a fun little nod there, sure.
I'm sad.
God bless our troops.
I think my brother would love this movie. I wonder if he's watched it yet, because he's getting back on it. No, he didn't comment. He's getting back on it though, so we'll see. Because I think he'd really dig this. Anyway, moving on. We're done. Next month.
I'm so excited for next month.
Yeah, next month, my wife is taking over. So I'll comment on the Reddit. She is picking all the movies for the month.
Very takeover, baby.
Well, she's picking the movies that get voted on. And then she's going to come do the podcast with us. So next week, you'll get to come hear her lovely opinion. Hopefully they don't get heated. I could see her getting heated, but we'll see.
We'll see. I think she's been on before, so it was like it was simple.
It's been a while.
We had a fun time.
She has the same problem everyone is, where they're like, I don't know if I can talk about that I don't know what to talk about, and then you'll find something. But yeah. But so next week, the first movie we're watching is Pride and Prejudice, which I've never seen it.
I'm sad because I voted for I was gonna vote for Dirty Dancing and I forgot, and then I didn't. So, anyways, it would have had an extra vote for Dirty Dancing, but it still would have lost.
Yeah.
But anyways, we're rocking.
Have you ever seen it?
No, never have.
I voted for it because it's the only one I haven't seen.
Okay, yeah. Oh, I guess that's true. Or I've seen Dirty Dancing, but
Matthew McFadden's in
Prejudice and Zombies. So if it's anything like that, which I'm sure it's similar.
This one's got Tom Wambsgans in it though. So
okay.
Anyway, all right, we're already running too long. No, that's the character. It's Matthew McFadden. He just won an Emmy. Anyway.
Oh, dude, this Pride and Prejudice. I'm just looking at it right now. I remember when this came out. Oh, yeah.
I remember. That was a big deal. So, We'll see. I'll see what all the hype's about. We've never seen it because we're a couple straight men.
Yeah. All right, folks. Yeah, come back later. Patreon people, we love you. If you want to become a patron and be amazing and support us, we love it. You know.
Yep. Check that out.
We're run by you, man. That's how. It's the only reason we make this.
It's true. Yep. Go to the Reddit. Keep commenting on the Reddit. You're all great. And thank you for listening and all that. Okay. Goodbye.
Yeah.
That's enough.
Then we should just start this podcast over again.
Oh, I know. Welcome to the Cult of Cinema Knowledge podcast. All right. I'm stopping.
I'm Jordan. And this is Shmivi.
Holy shit. Okay. I'm stopping. Bye.
How do I still? Yeah.
Oh no.